Glad you stopped by. Today, we are looking at two of the most notable bank heists in history. This, grand bank heist idea occupies a unique space in the public imagination, evoking images of meticulous planning, audacious execution, and life-altering stakes. These events transcend simple crime to become legends, complex operations that test the limits of security, ingenuity, and human greed. While common robberies are frequent, the monumental thefts that make history are rare. They are distinguished not just by the sums stolen, but by the sheer ambition and methodology of their perpetrators. These are the stories of state-sanctioned plunder, labyrinthine tunnels, and fatal betrayals that have redefined the boundaries of criminal enterprise. Okay, let's go. On March 18, 2003, with the U.S. bomb set to fall on Baghdad, an operation unfolded that would become the largest bank heist in history. This was not a covert burglary or a violent raid. It was a withdrawal sanctioned by the highest authority in the land. Anticipating the imminent invasion, Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein dispatched his son, Hussein, to the Central Bank of Iraq with a simple, handwritten directive: withdraw nearly $1 billion. Bank officials, faced with an order from the absolute ruler, had no choice but to comply. As one official later remarked, when you get an order from Saddam Hussein, you do not discuss it. Over a 5-hour period starting at 4 a.m., Hussein and other regime officials, supervised as bank staff loaded 3 tractor trailers with boxes of $100 bills, totaling approximately $920 million, along with another $100 million in euros. The convoy then disappeared into the pre-dawn darkness, carrying a full quarter of Iraq's foreign currency reserves. In the chaotic aftermath of the invasion, U.S. forces discovered approximately $650 million in fresh $100 bills hidden within the opulent walls of one of Saddam Hussein's palaces. While this was believed to be a large portion of the stolen funds, some Iraqi officials speculated it might have been the personal hoard of Saddam's notoriously profligate elder son, Uday. The remaining $350 million has never been accounted for. With Saddam Hussein executed in 2006 and Qusay killed in a firefight with U.S. troops in July 2003, the location of the missing money is a secret they took to their graves. The fog of war provided the perfect cover for its disappearance, with intelligence reports suggesting a convoy matching the description of the trucks may have crossed into Syria, making any further trace impossible. This event fundamentally challenges the definition of a bank robbery. Several analyses, including that of the Guinness World Records Organization, note that an act carried out by an absolute ruler with total control over state institutions is not technically illegal under that regime's laws. The withdrawal was not a violation of the state, it was an act by the state, blurring the line between the national treasury and the dictator's personal coffers. This elevates the incident from a crime story to a profound case study on the nature of autocracy. Furthermore, the motive appears to have been strategic rather than mere personal enrichment. The timing, just hours before the U.S. air war began, suggests the money was intended as a war chest. Saddam, correctly predicting it would soon be difficult to move around the country, was securing liquid assets to fund a potential resistance, facilitate the flight of his family and allies, or maintain operations while on the run. It was less an act of greed and more an act of business continuity for a regime on the brink of collapse. Our next story is this. Check this out. So, on July 12, 1987, the Knightsbridge Safe Deposit Center in London, a supposed fortress for the valuables of the rich and famous, was systematically plundered. The mastermind was Valerio Vici, a charismatic Italian fugitive who was already wanted in his home country for more than 50 armed robberies. The haul was estimated at a staggering $60 million, approximately $98 million, at the time, making it one of the largest robberies in history. Vici's method was a masterclass in social engineering. He identified and exploited the center's weakest link, its managing director, Parvez Latif, who was deeply in debt and addicted to cocaine. On the day of the robbery, Vici and an accomplice entered the center posing as prospective customers. Once they were shown into the vault, they drew handguns, subdued the staff, and hung a temporarily closed sign on the front door. This allowed them to let in the rest of their team, who then spent hours breaking into safe deposit boxes at their leisure. The gang's undoing was a single careless mistake. A bloody fingerprint left at the scene was recovered by forensic investigators and traced directly to Vici. While police surveillance led to a series of raids that captured several of his accomplices, Vici managed to flee to Latin America. However, his downfall was ultimately sealed by his own ego. Unable to part with his prized Ferrari Testarossa, Vici returned to England to arrange for the car to be shipped to him. Police, lying in wait, arrested him at a roadblock. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison. In 1992, he was deported to Italy to serve the remainder of his sentence and was ultimately killed in a shootout with police during a day release in April 2000. This heist is a story driven by personality. Vici was a quintessential playboy, motivated by a need to fund a lavish lifestyle and possessed of an ego the size of the Old Bailey courthouse, as one detective remarked. This persona enabled him to conceive the audacious plan and manipulate the compromised manager. Yet, it was this same attachment to the symbols of his lifestyle, the Ferrari, that led directly to his capture. His story is a classic tragedy of a man undone by the very character traits that fueled his success. The crime also serves as a stark reminder that the most critical vulnerability in any security system is often human. The impenetrable vault was not breached with explosives, but by exploiting the personal failings of one individual. Vici's genius was not in cracking a safe, but in cracking a person. Furthermore, the true value of the haul remains unknown, as police noted that a number of depositors never came forward to report their losses. This strongly suggests that the center was used by other criminals to store illicit assets, meaning Vici's raid was not just a robbery of the wealthy elite, but likely a major disruptive event within the London underworld itself. So we would love to know what you think here at the Historical Footnote. We have more stories just like this one coming out in a few weeks. We would love to know what you think about this story. Drop a like, will you? Thank you for supporting small channels like this one. We look forward to hearing from you soon.